welcome back, guys. What are we working on now? We are working on a stihl chainsaw. It's an old school stihl 029 Super. And the customer wants me to inspect it and get it running. So before I start cranking on this thing, I'm going to do a few preliminary checks. So we're going to check to make sure it's got spark. We're going to check inside the cylinder, make sure there's no, don't have a bad piston or bad cylinder. It does seem like it does have good compression when you do pull the handle, slowly. So it does seem like it has some compression. It holds itself under its own weight. Doesn't come, starter rope don't come rolling out pretty quickly. It is a Super. I think the difference between a Super and an 029 is the Super, I think, has a pop-up piston. I think is the only difference. I'm pretty sure that the diameter is the same. It just has a pop-up or a dome, whatever. So, like I said, we'll start off with some preliminary checks. And I'm going to take the side cover off and this bar off. Get some things cleaned up on it real quick, and I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, so pulled the spark plug out, and it's a Bosch. And it's a SR6F. Gapped a little tight, so I opened the gap up a little bit. So that's good to go. Excuse me, guys. I've been coughing for weeks, and nobody seems to know how to get rid of it. It's getting on my last nerve. My chest and neck muscles are completely maxed out and hurting. I'll call the doctor again tomorrow. Tell him he's got to do something. All right. Pretty sure I'm not going to be able to see much access. If I take this side cover off and look in that way, I'm probably not going to get much access. But I really like to check that impulse line. So let's see what we can see. Everything's fairly clean under here. Moves freely. Well, looks like I might be able to see in here a little bit. Yeah. Barely. I can barely make out like the edge of the intake boot where the clamp goes. That's it. Can't see anything else. And I can barely see a little bit of the impulse hose. I'm going to take my airline, I'm going to blow it all in there and get that out of the flywheel there. And this looks, now when I looked inside the cylinder, which will explain a little bit, it has compression and it will hold under its own weight. Was not as good as I thought it should. And when I looked in through the spark plug on the exhaust side, there's scoring. So we'll see how bad it is. We'll see if the saw will even run with that scoring. On these saws, as you can see, It has a huge inlet with two tiny little slivers. You can just take and open them up. All right. Yeah. So the piston's got some marks on it also. The rings are marked up. Trying to see if the ring is stuck in the piston. Bearings seem to be fine in this thing. I think it would just need a top end. If it does run, it'll just run on reduced power. But it was probably due to junk buildup. Guys, it is very, very important to clean your saws. See that stuff down there? That's caked and caked on. All that cake of dust and oil and cakes up on there and just creates an insulated barrier, and it causes that heat to get held in, and the next thing you know, your piston's getting a little too friendly with the cylinder. There is maintenance to a two-stroke motor, whether you want to believe it or not. Depending how often you use it, you might tear it down. Pull the top covers and stuff off, side covers, everything, and just give this thing a good cleaning. Get some spray solvents and spray in there to help dissolve those oils and greases and dirts and things like that. Pull that muffler out of your way so you can get in there real good. Just stuff that cylinder with some paper towel, right? And get in there and clean that junk out of once or twice a year, depending on how often you use it. A lot of your old saws, right? This is an old John Deere, and no, John Deere did not make saws. They had people make it for them, and they had multiple people make them saws. It's whoever gives them the cheapest bid, right? These old saws, right? They're here for a reason. You know, some of these saws are 40, 50, 60 years old. Excuse me. There's some saws out there that are much older than that. And they're still here, and they're still being ran. Right? A lot of them still in the same cylinder. I forgot to show you one more. My Husqvarna white top. They haven't made white tops in years. 70s or 80s, somewhere along there, probably 80s. It's probably the last they made of a white top. The only thing wrong with that saw, and I don't run it as much as I would like to, is the crank seals are bad in it. I've got an air leak. But a lot of these saws are still here because a lot of your old timers knew that you had to take care of your saw. Because if you didn't take care of your saw, the saw wouldn't want to take care of you. And the only issues that they had with saws back then, you know, because they took care of them, was just the normal wear and tear stuff. Right? You know, the rings might wear out on it because it's so old, not because they let it overheat and smeared the piston against the cylinder wall and stuff like that. No, it just wore the rings out. Yep. Good blue spark. Knowing that I have some scoring on the piston and cylinder, let's go ahead and do a compression test. Just to see if we have enough compression to support combustion. Well, that was what, 5 pulls? It's 150 psi. This thing's got a Schrader valve in it, so I can take it out and still hold it. See, there's a Schrader. 150 psi. Can't be. It should start and should run. All right, let's get this thing out of here. All right. Basically the same carb. Should be an HD carb. Yep. It's the same carb as 029. Yeah, Walmart HD carb. Alright. Let me set this down real quick. The fuel leaking. Cap because I got it loose. The other thing I'm going to do before I put that muffler on, let me do it now before I forget it. I'm going to spray some lubricant in here. Just to kind of lubricate things. Since it's been sitting up for so long. See if I can get you guys in a little closer. Maybe you haven't had too many close-up shots here lately. Or I've been in the way. Sorry about that, guys. Again, on this carb, everything looks pristine. Screen is nice and clean. Looks like this carb haven't had the first ounce of fuel through it yet, it looks like. Still nice and flexible. We'll take a look at our piston from this side. Alright guys, I got the carb put on. And so we're going to try to fire this thing up. I don't have the muffler on it yet. Let's just see if it will fire up and run some. Let me try. Yeah. She'll run. Yeah, she'll run. Smells like chicken house. I thought that's where it might have been stored at. Excuse me. Well, I did talk to the owner of this saw, and he does want me to do the muffler mod for him. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright guys, hopefully this was some helpful information for you. Hopefully this will help you one day. If so, give me a thumbs up. subscribe, send me some comments, let me know what you think. Be kind and help people when you can.